Do not go looking for problems. Do not go focusing on unwanted. Focus on the wanted. Focus on the wanted. I like focusing on things that feel good. It feels good to focus on things that feel good. I've noticed my body does a lot better when I focus on things that feel good. Notice that my emotions follow my thoughts into more and more feel good. This is what I've noticed. And I've noticed it works for you too. I've noticed it works for everyone as we focus on what feels good. In this way, you can support your child to the utmost. In this way, you can feel your guidance. The other way, you cannot feel your guidance because you are focusing on what feels bad. You are focusing on unwanted. As you change your focus, just a bit of practice, a bit of intentionality, you will start to feel the inflow. It has always been there, but you will start to feel it, the inflow of support from Source, the unlimited wealth and health and goodness and fun and frivolity and healing and wellness that is always yours. It is always everyone's. You must let it in. By focusing on unwanted, you are keeping it out. You cannot keep it out because it is always, but you are keeping it out of your own experience. In this way, you are the most service to your child and everyone else around you.
Welcome to the Delicious Alignment and the Art of Abundance podcast. We cover topics related to health, wealth, and happiness. Upcoming guests include Sarah Landon, Eric Olson, Frank Butterfield, and more. I am so excited about today's guests because there's actually 4 of us on the show today. I have Ramona Galey, who channels or receives, as she calls it, Oprah, not Oprah Winfrey, different Oprah, and myself, and 2 of my friends, Julie and Joyce, who ask Oprah questions about chronic digestion issues, how to make the right medical decisions for her 7-year-old son, how to get comfortable spending money on a car she really wants, when a psychic tells you something upsetting, why do different channelers sometimes say different things, and is it necessary to find the emotional cause for an illness in order to get better? Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Delicious Alignment or its host. Before we get started, I have a quick announcement to make that I am super duper excited about. This episode was so powerful to me personally and to my 2 guests. The unconditional love that Oprah expresses, the powerful answers to our questions, the expansion, the comfort, the clarity, and the fun, delightful connection I have with Ramona. Well, long story short, Ramona and I are doing a retreat, probably a 2-day retreat in Asheville in the fall. It will be a hot seat situation where you can ask Oprah questions, and I will have a segment as well where I will have inner being hot seats, where I get to talk to your inner being on your behalf. More information to come. Asheville is a beautiful place any time of the year, but especially gorgeous in the fall. So keep your eye out for more information. Ramona and I will be meeting to discuss details, and I couldn't be more thrilled. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the episode. We've talked about this before. You're in my book, your story about how you learned to love your body. Also interviewed you before for this podcast. So this time we're actually talking to Oprah as well. So this is different. I would like to ask you about how you started channeling and what channeling means to you and how that all started.
Thank you so much for having me on the show and really appreciate it. Looking forward to connecting with your listeners and connecting with the 2 ladies we have on the line for answering questions from Oprah. And Oprah, without the H, by the way, Oprah, nothing to do with Oprah Winfrey. Oprah started coming to me just wildly, probably about 5 or 6 years after I started listening to Abraham Hicks. One of the first things I heard about Abraham Hicks was that Esther only could receive or could receive so well Abraham because she was living life happily ever after and she had no strong opinions. And I remember thinking very clearly that means I could never do it because I was not living that life happily ever after. My partner had just passed away and I was verklempt over all of that. And also, I had a lot of really strong opinions, what I would now call attachments. And I remember thinking I could just never do that. But I was recovering from the grief stricken, low vibing state that I found myself in after Betty passed away. I thought my only source of unconditional love had just left the planet. And I was planning on following her and I was just really out of sorts. So I had already started, I'd been studying, I immersed myself in law of attraction, Abraham Hicks' message. I studied everything I could get my hands on. I had already started teaching it. And then I was walking in the mountains with my friend Shannon, and she was telling me about some incredible experiences that she was having with what you would call maybe paranormal. She was taking a class, and there were people in there that wanted to learn to be psychics and mediums and channels and all this stuff. And this was, other than Abraham Hicks, this was a very foreign concept to me at the beginning of the walk. And by the end of the walk, we spent the day walking in around the mountains in Asheville because we were there for an Abraham Hicks workshop, but this was Thursday before the workshop. And by the end of the day, I just had this knowing come over me. I was like, that's me. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I do. I'm going to be doing that. That's me. And I didn't know where that came from. And I didn't even really put any stock in it, really. It's just there was this sureness. And in other words, I didn't start making plans. I just knew. It wasn't like an inspired action. It was just inspiration by itself without any action. And then it was my good friends, Bob and Flora, who convinced me to do it for them, with them once. They were longstanding attendees of Abraham workshops, and they talked me into doing it the first time. Not talked me into, but they invited me to, and I was game for it. And so we did it. And I knew some things that there was just no way for me to know otherwise from my logical brain, which I tend to be very logical and linear in a lot of ways. And so that's how it all got started. And Esther, I don't really call it channeling. I really call it receiving, but it is channeling. We're all channeling all the time. And so when we get an idea, we've channeled that idea. It came from source. It came from outside ourselves or from within ourselves, which is where our connection to source is. And that's basically channeling. Every time we have fun, every time we laugh, every time we really connect with somebody, every time we have a great idea, every time we just know what somebody's feeling or thinking, that's channeling. But I call it receiving. I receive Oprah on behalf of others, and people ask questions. I gotta go into a kind of a light trance, and people ask questions, and Oprah has their own little shtick going on, and they answer the questions, and it feels really good to me. I feel like I do it like I'm the one that benefits more than anybody else, but I also love the fact that everybody else benefits.
I think we could just sit here and ask you questions, Ramona, about this whole experience for an hour, but then we wouldn't get to ask Oprah questions. But I do want to ask you, what is it like afterwards? After you have like maybe an hour session or 30-minute session, what is it like afterwards for you when you come back? How do you feel?
I feel euphoric. I feel extremely relaxed. When I receive Oprah these days, this wasn't true probably the first 6 months or 9 months or so. But when I came back to receiving Oprah, it doesn't matter. But when I reached a point where my body starts to disappear, when I'm receiving Oprah now, I don't feel my body. I'm not aware of sitting on a chair. I'm not aware, for the most part. It comes a little bit and goes a little bit, but mostly I'm not aware of my body. So coming back into my body is a euphoric feeling. And I frequently will laugh. I personally, not Oprah. Oprah would laugh like all the time. They're just like so high vibing. And I will laugh at the end of a session, like in my group sessions. When I first come back, I'm coming in, my awareness is coming back to me at such a high level that it's like hilarious. And so I laugh and laugh. I don't do that as much in private sessions just because, I don't know, for whatever reason, that I don't do it as much. But in group sessions, I do it a lot. But either way, I feel that kind of euphoria that because in the non-physical, there is nothing that we would consider contrast. There's no resistance. There's no friction. It's like imagine just being able to fly through the air anywhere you wanted, any direction, any speed, with no friction, no resistance from the air itself. That's how it feels. And then when you come back into your physical body, of course, on the physical plane, we've got lots of resistance, lots of contrast everywhere. That's the whole point, right? Gravity means you can jump. If you didn't have gravity, you couldn't jump.
Thank you so much, Ramona, for that little intro. And Ramona, would you like to go ahead and get started?
I'll go ahead and get Oprah. And just to let Joyce and Julie know, as you are asking your questions, the best questions are ones that are personal to you, where you have a deep desire to know. So you'll get better answers the more you summon from Oprah. In other words, you are in charge. You're pulling the answers from Oprah. And the way Oprah likes to describe it is your inner being talks to my inner being, which is Oprah. And then Oprah tells Ramona, and then Ramona figures out words to put to it and gives it back to you. Have fun, and I will see you later. And I will go get Oprah now. Yes, indeed. Greetings.
Greetings. Hello, Oprah. Thank you
Yeah,
for being with us here today.
we are delighted to be here.
Thank you. We have a question for you from Joyce. Joyce, you can go ahead and ask your question.
My question is, it's about money, and I feel like I'm afraid to spend money. I want to buy a new car, and I have the money to buy the new car, but I'm afraid to because then I'm going to deplete my savings. And I guess I want help with knowing that source is always creating the supply for me. And I want to feel good. I want to feel happy. I want to enjoy a new car. I want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Can you help me with that?
We would start with removing money from the equation. So money is like time. It has no essence unto itself other than what you bring to it. And in your awareness, I want to feel good. I know that source is always bringing me more resources. Why do I feel this hesitation? Because you are instinctively knowing to feel into the essence of money. In other words, as you make your decisions based on how it feels, I'm following my guidance in this way, and I am having fun in that way, and I'm raising my vibration in these various ways, and I'm enjoying a higher and higher in vibration and thinking full about my life. And so I'm feeling my way through life. I may not always be aware of it, conscious of it, but I'm feeling my way as I follow my guidance. And now I'm focusing on money, and there is no essence to feel. So we find that humans find this to be very confusing. I'm feeling for money and there's nothing to feel. What's wrong? Now I'm frozen. I'm not sure what to do. And we believe it is this confusion that is contributing to your hesitancy. So change money to air, change money to water, change money to something that has essence, abundance, the abundance of flowers on this planet, the abundance of different colors and varieties of birds. Think of the sheer exuberant abundance that exists all around you and tune to that instead of this word, this concept of money. Money is like math. It is math. It is the lowest common denominator. It is an invention, a human construct that makes it so that you don't have to carry all your shoes with you if you're a shoemaker when you go to buy your milk. You don't have to cut a shoe in half in order to buy a half a gallon of milk. This is all that money is for the human desire, the convenience to exchange with others. It has no essence. So as you feel for it, it's very confusing. So release this word, words like cash, income, money, and revert back to what the feeling is. Sheer exuberance, the wind in your hair, the sun on your skin, the water flowing over a waterfall, the clear, cool water that comes out of your faucet. When you turn on a light switch and electricity comes on, this is all abundance. The roof over your head, the food in your refrigerator, abundance. Focus on abundance and what you want. This car that you want, focus on that, not the money, not the price, not the income that would be required, not the amount in savings, not the bank account number or the balance, the credit cards, nothing. The car itself, the feeling of the car. I love this car. I really want to be able to just drive around in style. I want to feel good about myself in this car. I want the shining gleam of chrome to practically blind me when the sun hits it. I want the smell of a new car. Oh, I love how that feels. I love how that feels in my body. I love the feeling of exuberant, exhilarating abundance. This is what I want in my life. It is not this thing, this fake thing called money.
I feel like I get to that place. Sometimes I get into yeah, I can smell the new car. I can be in the joy of having it, of driving around. But how do I get to the moment where I feel it's okay to give them that check or
As you feel this way and then focus on the money again, you don't feel this way. And then as you do
right?
feel this way, and then as you don't feel this way, and as you
Exactly.
do feel this way, and as you don't feel this way, we like to call this the seesaw.
Yes.
Working very hard, moving a lot, and never getting anywhere. And so as you build momentum, be very intentional. I'm feeling this. I'm thinking about this in this new way. And now here comes this old habit to focus on the money. No, I'm going to look away from that. I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to release it. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to say, no, you bad attitude about money. I'm going to say, look, squirrel. Oh, look, squirrel. Oh, look, balloons. Oh, look, grass. And then I'm going to feel this beautiful essence of abundance. And now here comes that old thing again. Look away. Do not allow it, this unwanted, this unhelpful, this limiting belief, do not allow it to gain any momentum. Switch the momentum back to the wanted every time. This may sound a bit laborious, but it just takes a bit of practice. You will become very good at this once you catch the hang of it, the feel of it. The feel of momentum is undescribable and unforgettable. That's the feeling of momentum.
That's really helpful. Very helpful.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Good. Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
Thank you.
you.
yeah.
What if I told you that Ramona and Oprah have a client who is taking all 130 of her private Oprah sessions and making them available to the public? Gina Mallison is the client, and if you've been around me a while, you've heard me talk about Gina many, many times. She's been a frequent guest on this show, and she is the creator of the Mallison Method. Plus, similar to Jerry Hicks, Gina had endless questions for infinite intelligence about how to integrate the teachings of Abraham Hicks in every category of her life. Gina is so passionate about getting Oprah's leading edge answers out into the public that she's created a show on her broadcasting station, Mallison TV, which is amazing, by the way, where you can watch these sessions in the privacy of your own home. Season 1 of Gina's Oprah sessions is now available, and as a special gift to Delicious Alignment listeners, Gina has provided a code word that allows you to get Season 1 for absolutely free. To get Season 1, simply go to MallisonTV.com/love, and once you get to the checkout screen, enter the word love in the coupon field. You can also visit the show notes of this episode for more information and a direct link to this gift. Julie, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, thank you so much, Oprah, for this opportunity.
Yeah.
So my question is about health, and I just jotted down some notes so I can stay focused because there's a lot of momentum going on this.
Yeah.
Actually, what you just said about the seesaw totally resonates with where I've been, but for at least 4 or 5 years, I've had chronic digestive issues and even been told specific diagnoses, and I've done different rounds of different types of treating it. And there have been times where I felt a bit better, and then something gets swept up and I might have more symptoms, and they range from just mild discomfort to sometimes painful, and there's a lot of emotion that gets swept up in that, as far as sometimes going down into despair about just when will this ever end? Is this going to ever end? And I'm trying to understand how do my connection to my intuition is something that I'd like to help boost, because I think sometimes I get trapped in this. How do I know when something actually needs medical attention? How do I know when I need to research this, or can my body just heal on its own if I let it be? And that's that's the first part of the.
Feel the unwanted momentum that you have just described so beautifully. Sometimes I feel better, sometimes I feel worse. And now I'm going to describe to you all the ways I feel worse. Feel the momentum behind that. The continued focus creates this unwanted momentum. As you release, as you set an intention to release unwanted momentum, first and foremost, start telling a different story. Start talking about all the times you do feel good. Do you believe that you feel bad 100% of the time, 24/7, 365?
No, I don't.
So as you have even just a little momentary glimpse, grab it. Grab hold of it with your focus, with your attention. Say, oh, I feel so good today. I love the way I feel. No buts. But, no buts. I love the way I feel right now. I love my body. My body is sending me lots of pleasurable sensations right now, and I love that. I love thinking well of my body. I love imagining my body taking care of business. It's like little elves, always so very happy to be doing their job, getting rid of waste, bringing in the resources, carrying it around, delivering it, saying, hi, everybody, how you doing? Going through the bloodstream, taking everything exactly where it needs to go. They know exactly what to do. Exactly. They're perfect. They are in connection with source. They are expression of source. They are doing everything that needs to be done, everything that you want to be done. Celebrate this. And in times when you are not feeling as good, change the subject. I love bananas. I love the shape of them. I love the color of them. I love the taste of them. I love the fiber of them. I love giving them to my body. I love the way my body responds to bananas. And now here comes that old thing about my body. Oops, look, blade of grass. One single blade of grass is such a miracle. I'd like to look at it under the microscope and really see it. Changing the subject, and every time the old subject wants to come up, and it will, because you have very strong momentum, in other words, habit, change the subject. Do not berate yourself for letting it come up again. Do not berate source for sending it to you. Do not berate your body for triggering it. Simply change the subject and start telling yourself first, my body is immaculate. It's immensely magnificent. My body, I love my body just the way it is, exactly the way it is, perfect, just the way it is. And I love telling it how wonderful it is. I love my big toe. My big toe helps me balance so beautifully. I love my ears. I have nice hair. I don't have to do anything to it to make it grow. I don't have to schedule it. I don't have to maintain it. It just grows, just like my fingernails. And my heart. My heart keeps beating and beating and beating and beating and beating and beating and beating. It's miraculous. It's unbelievable. It's magnificent. You change the story in this way, all of the old unwanted falls away. And as the more it falls away, the more you will be in touch with this intuition that you desire to be in touch with. You cannot hear your guidance through this old story that you are telling. And we will tell you it is an old story. It has nothing to do with now. Right now, your body is perfect. Story. And start to discover this for yourself. Do not take our word for it. Feel into it. Feel the truth of this. You will feel it more and more easily over time. Yes.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
And one other thing that's related, and I'm sure it's all part of this old story, but it's something I think I'm still stuck on, is that I've been told there might be these emotional traumas, for a better word. But maybe they're stuck in my body. And some practitioners or healers claim that you need to locate these or figure out what they are so they can be released so that your body can heal.
How
And
does this feel to you, this theory? How does it feel?
it feels overwhelming.
Yes. Do you know there is no such thing as the past? If you have been hurt in the past and you remember it right now, it is the present. It is only the present. It is right here, right now, in your vibration, in your focus, in your work. As you release, it disappears. There's no such thing as the past. It is gone. There is only right here, right now. There is no future to worry about. Worry is right here, right now, about this illusion of the future. This hurtful memory is not in the past. It is right now. You have total control. 100% total control is yours. You have all of the power. Simply focus on something else. This takes repetition simply because you have repeated the other way so much. So it takes a bit of repetition. There's no snapping of the fingers on this. But do it anyway. Feel how it feels to change the focus. I'm remembering this thing. Ah, I love a glass of milk. Feels so good to me. It feels like protein and it feels like refreshment and it feels like connection to the cow. And I feel it going through my body, delivering nutrients. Change the subject away from the unwanted based on how it feels. And as you notice, in this change of focus, notice how it feels. Oh, that feels much better. I don't want to think about that stupid thing anymore. I just want to let it go. Understand, we are not suggesting that you repress it or suppress it. You do not pretend it didn't happen. You simply say, there it is. Okay, now change the subject. There it is. Okay, now change the subject. Look around. Anything, the artwork on the wall, the feel of the rug underneath your toes, the feeling of grass, the smell of impending rain, anything, even a different memory.
Mhm.
Okay, I remember this, but I also remember my last birthday party, and that was a lot of fun. I remember anything that feels a little bit better. Anything. This takes just a bit of practice. You are ready for this. Do you agree?
I think I am.
Yes. Your body is a chemical factory. It will take whatever you give it and turn it into exactly what you need. But you must support it by not contradicting it, that there's something wrong with it. Love it the way you would love a 2-year-old.
Mhm.
2-year-old, you wouldn't say, you didn't run fast enough. There must be something wrong with you. You fell down that time when you were 1. Do you remember? There must be something wrong with you. What do you mean you can't do calculus yet? There must be something wrong with you. You would never do this to a 2-year-old. You would say, so proud of you. You're so strong. You're so capable. You're so talented. You're a magnificent human being. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Say this to your body. Yes.
That resonates a lot.
Yes, we feel.
Great, thank you. I'd like to read a question that was submitted along the same lines regarding health and wellness. Here's the question. I hope it's enough backstory for you, Oprah. Our 7-year-old has a rare genetic dental disorder. This is something that was present at the first sight of his baby teeth. The enamel on his teeth are about 1/10 of regular healthy enamel, making his teeth very weak and susceptible to cavities. A few dental opinions have strongly recommended we have him in surgery soon to basically get crowns on all of his teeth, and he'd need to repeat this later in life when he has all of his permanent teeth. My first question for this situation is, why would a child attract this kind of condition? The next question is my role in parenting. How can I feel confident making a health decision to have a major dental surgery for my child?
Start with honoring the intentions of the other. Your child entered the physical plane with their own intentions, with their own vibrational control. As you attempt to vibrate for another, you pull yourself out of alignment. And so as you understand and accept and love and role model for anyone that you are near, you are giving them the greatest gift. So it is a little bit of the same that we were just discussing. Do not go looking for problems. Do not go focusing on unwanted. Focus on the wanted. Focus on the wanted. I like focusing on things that feel good. It feels good to focus on things that feel good. I've noticed my body does a lot better when I focus on things that feel good. Notice that my emotions follow my thoughts into more and more feel good. This is what I've noticed. And I've noticed it works for you too. I've noticed it works for everyone as we focus on what feels good. In this way, you can support your child to the utmost. In this way, you can feel your guidance. The other way, you cannot feel your guidance because you are focusing on what feels bad. You are focusing on unwanted. As you change your focus, just a bit of practice, a bit of intentionality, you will start to feel the inflow. It has always been there, but you will start to feel it, the inflow of support from Source, the unlimited wealth and health and goodness and fun and frivolity and healing and wellness that is always yours. It is always everyone's. You must let it in. By focusing on unwanted, you are keeping it out. You cannot keep it out because it is always, but you are keeping it out of your own experience. In this way, you are the most service to your child and everyone else around you.
Last summer, I interviewed Reed Thompson about his 12-month experiment of fun. It was such a great episode. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend giving it a listen. It clearly demonstrates how fun is more than just something we do in our spare time. It actually is the secret to attracting more money, more freedom, and yes, even more fun. I've got some really exciting news. Reed has recently written a book called The Unicorn Frequency, which is wonderful, by the way. I was lucky enough to get an advanced reader's copy. And it's such a beautiful instruction manual for how to live an authentic life, a fun life, a magical life without caring what other people think. I've got even better news for you. When you pre-order Reed's book, which is coming out in early 2024, Reed has a special gift for you, a free guided meditation called My Unicorn Magic. Just DM a screenshot of your pre-order receipt to Reed via Instagram, and his Instagram handle is REIDONK, and he will send you the meditation at no charge. You can find the book on Amazon or go to the show notes for the link. Thank you. I have a follow-up question for that. Listening to you, then I would conclude that as a parent, you would then follow your guidance and if you're guided to have your child go through a certain procedure, then you're listening to your guidance, and then you know whether this feels good or not to have this procedure or that procedure. You're guided to the next steps when you're tuned in.
Yes, the child is guided also. It is very human to say, I am in charge of this person, whether it's an aged parent or a young child or a sibling with cognitive limitations or whatever it is, a teacher in a classroom. I am responsible for this person and I am going to make the decisions. Already you have pulled yourself out of alignment. As you feel your own alignment, connect with, gel with, join the guidance of the other, the solutions which seem so non-apparent out of alignment suddenly become very apparent. The solutions arrive. They arrive in this joining, in this, we will go so far as to say, respect for the other's alignment, for the other's guidance, for the other's connection to source, to release the out of alignment perception that I am in charge, to say, we are in charge. We have the power. We are doing this together. And as you keep in mind that an out of alignment medical industry is always looking for problems, it is an opportunity for you to decide for yourself, do I want to participate in the looking for problems, or do I want to allow Source to bring me solutions, to bring me good feelings, to bring me best outcomes, to bring me love and health and abundance, to bring all of us love, health, and abundance. It is a completely different perspective, a completely different perception, a completely different intention, a completely different approach. We would say, dabble in it, start to change the momentum, feel your way through it. In other words, you are not just sitting in a quiet room waiting for one decision about one operation. You are changing your entire perspective, your entire approach to your life to say, our alignment is the most important thing. Mine first, always, whether I'm in charge or whether somebody else thinks they're in charge of me. My alignment first. And as soon as I have that high vibing alignment, I can start to notice that I am impacting on the others around me. And now we can have a conversation, an aligned conversation, an aligned joining of minds. If the baby is pre-verbal, it doesn't have to be a verbal conversation. We can commune together. We can invite solutions together that individually we cannot think of. We can invite and allow. And so often, the out of alignment opinions of others only detract from this process. We are not saying to ignore them or suppress them or fight them or protest them. We are simply saying your guidance first and foremost, and then.
Yes, so I have a lovely example of this exact thing with the follow-up question. Me personally, I have been experiencing watching my husband struggle with a skin condition, and I was trying to control things, trying to help, doing a lot of controlling or trying. And then I realized, okay, I'm just going to see him as whole and perfect. I'm just going
Yes.
to focus on seeing his skin as beautiful. He's getting good night's sleep, not itching all night. He's just feeling good. No matter what, I would just focus on that. Things got better, way better. And
Yes.
I said, look, nothing's more important than your alignment. You follow your inner guidance to what feels good to you. And what felt good to him, he saw a little ad in a newspaper. Who does little ads in newspapers anymore? He saw a little ad in a newspaper for this holistic service from this man, and this man wound up helping him. So very interesting. And then now it started to come back again. So it's just rinse and repeat is my question.
Yes.
Just go back.
Yes. And for you, we would change our words. We would change our perception from away from control towards focus. Control is a bit of a judgmental term. Do you agree?
Yeah, I felt it like I was judging myself when I said, every time I
Yes.
said that word. Yeah.
As you term it focus, it's a neutral term. You focus a camera, you can focus it a million different ways and take a million different pictures. It's the same with your focus. Change your focus, change your life. Change your focus, change your state. Change your focus, change your alignment. There's no judgment there. And as you focus on the here and now, and as you focus on the wholeness, as you described, as you changed your focus, you got very different results. So nothing gone wrong, nothing to beat up on yourself over, just simply changing your focus. It's a decision. It's a decision that says, this doesn't feel good, let's try this other thing. Simple, very innocent, very loving, nothing to do with control.
Yeah, interesting that I was using that word. Yes. Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. I have another question from another person. And Julie and Joyce, if you are thinking of another question, great. If not, that's fine. Okay. Janice asks, I had a psychic reading where she told me one of the twins my daughter was pregnant with was going to die. I'm so upset, worried now. My question is, why would someone predict such a thing? Thank
It
you.
is not true. The best way to discern for yourself the truth of anything is how it feels. In other words, non-truth does not feel good. And you might say, from your human perspective, if someone tells me a white lie that supposedly makes me feel good, then how does that work? And we are talking about a vibrational truth. In other words, nothing is set in stone, especially on behalf of someone else. And we will tell you right now, those two babies have not decided yet. They have not decided yet. It is an open field. There is no reason to presuppose any outcome on behalf of someone else. Again, it is a matter of respect for the fetus, for the infant, for the child, for the teenager, for the young adult, for the middle adult, for the old adult, for the most senile person on the planet. Respect the other's innate connection with Source, right to choose for themselves the perfection of their experience that they intend, that they choose, that they focus. Their expansion is their business, always. And we will say, as you speak with any human vessel that is receiving, that is wanting to receive, that is claiming to receive, understand that the human is the translator. And the more the human can remove their humanity from the experience, the clearer message they can deliver. And every human on the planet is at a different stage of this. When Ramona decided to follow in Esther's footsteps, she set an intention because she was so drawn to Abraham Hicks. And when she first started, she was in such a muddle that she was feeling the resonance of this Abraham Hicks message. And she went and looked, are there others doing this work? She had never been exposed to this industry before. And so she went and she listened to Bashar and a bunch of others. And she decided that she really liked Esther the best because she could feel that Esther was keeping her humanity completely out of the way, keeping her opinion out of the way, keeping her personal expression and opinion and perspective on things out of the way, and letting a pure message come through. And this was what Ramona very consciously decided to do. But others do not set this particular intention. They have other goals, other perceptions, other desires, other preferences, other limitations, even. And so each of you decide how you wish to live your life from moment to moment. And as you respect the other's right to do, even if you do not agree with the choice they have made, respect their right to have that preference, to make that choice, to learn in that way, to expand in their own manner, their own choosing. And so you must choose everything that you do, whether it's a doctor or someone who is predicting something on your behalf, or your best friend, or your parent, or your spouse. You must choose how to receive whatever they have for you based on how it feels. And if it does not feel good, it is not true for you. The doctors see sick people all day long. They are in the business of sick care. It is not health care management, it is sick care management. And so as you feel the resonance one way or the other, yes, I agree. No, that doesn't feel quite right. And as you honor and respect your own connection to source, you are being quite responsible in the literal way, responding to your guidance. This is the ultimate, the height of responsibility.
So this brought up, as you were speaking, another question about receiving, channeling. I notice that a lot of channelers, and I use that for lack of a better word, channeling, they sometimes, everybody's saying the same thing. And then once in a while, it's, wait a minute, that kind of contradicts what the other one said.
There are two reasons for that. First of all, the summoning is the power. So the question and the person asking the question determines the answer. The summoning is the power. So you can have two different people ask what sounds like the exact same question and get two very different answers. In fact, you can get the same person asking the same question at two different times and get two different answers because they are summoning differently. Each of you summons from what you understand in your current place. In other words, what you are ready for. A child cannot necessarily ask about the intricacies of a romantic relationship because they have no experience with it and they're not ready for it yet. So a child asking a question, what does it mean to kiss, for example, would get a very different answer from an adult who has had multiple failed relationships with lots of contrast. What does it mean to kiss? Completely different answer, both true. And then the person who is translating the answer, the vessel as we like to call it, as we like to call you humans, the vessel can only understand what they are capable of understanding. As they are translating the message, in other words, Ramona is not giving you everything that we've got in response to your summoning. She is only giving you what seems to be the highest priority in a short period of time and what she can understand. We might be showing her lots of things that she's not ready to understand yet. She cannot translate something she cannot understand, and neither can any other vessel. So it is really up to the experience and the preferences and the intentions and the readiness of the vessel as to what they are bringing through as an answer to any summoning. So two very different reasons, equally possible to bring up two very different sounding answers when you read or listen to an answer that someone else has summoned. And through various vessels, we would read the answer and feel whether this applies to you or not. Do not judge the truth of it because the truth for another person may not be true for you. Truth is very relative. So feel the answer as it applies to you. Does this resonate with me? How does this feel? Do I feel uplifted reading this answer or hearing this answer? Or do I feel a little bit overwhelmed? Or do I feel a little afraid? Do I feel a little sad? Or do I feel uplifted? Do I feel like, yes, this is possible for me too? Or yes, this describes exactly how I've been feeling. Yes, this is the best answer I've ever heard in my entire life. Yes, this resonates. Yes. Then that's perfect for you. Otherwise, release it. Do not focus on it again.
Thank you. I love that answer so much. That makes so much sense because when you think about your own life, what makes sense now didn't make sense a couple of years ago. And
Yes,
so what you are
exactly.
summoning is meeting you where you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. So Julie or Joyce, do you have any other questions? Do you have another question? Okay, go for it, Julie.
Something that just came to me because I just heard it on our house is I've had this some kind of interaction, co-creation with a woodpecker that has been pretty persistent for a while. And so it's one of those huge pileated woodpeckers, a beautiful, apparently a rare bird, but not here. So we have wood siding on our house, and I know woodpeckers come to peck wood, and obviously this looks like a very suitable house for it, but it's become a lot of the feelings actually I felt with my health issues, overwhelming, vulnerable, feeling insecure, unsafe, and just not really knowing how to influence this woodpecker to find a different house because we keep having to patch it and it keeps coming back, and we've tried different deterrents. So I guess the question is about how we can co-create with nature in a way to be harmonious for all involved.
As you feel into your own response, and as you release any response that is the feeling of, Ramona wants to say, use the word inevitability. There is a sense of, why does this keep happening? Why can I not focus on something else? Why do I keep focusing back on this thing? Why does this thing have my attention so clearly? We would invite, first of all, change the subject more and more as best you can, and invite the blanking. We will go with this word for a moment, the blanking. In other words, you could easily place a piece of metal across this place where the woodpecker has been coming, and it will peck on the metal for a while, possibly, which will be even louder, and then it will move on. So in other words, there is a blanking that is always available to each of you as you are implementing this understanding of your focus and the power of your focus. And when you find yourself focusing on something over and over, when you know that you do not want to, there's this inevitability feeling to it. In other words, the law of attraction, your momentum has got such a hold on you that it is very difficult to remove your focus. Simply blank it. Do you understand?
A little bit, but I think I'm not exactly.
Allow, in other words, allow a complete cessation of it, a complete interruption of it, of the thing that has your focus. Let's say you're at a party and the people there keep talking about politics and you don't do politics. You know that this lowers your vibration, and so you do not wish to discuss politics. And so you move from one group to the other. And yet every single group at this party, there are 10 groups of 3 or 4 people standing around talking, and you go from one to the next, and they are all talking politics. This would be a perfect metaphor of what we are discussing. You might decide to just leave the party, even though intellectually, intentionally, preferentially, you would rather stay. You would rather control your focus. You would like to be able to control the entire room and get them focused on something else. And so you've tried and you've tried and you've tried. Sometimes you just say, you know what? I'm going to live to play another day. I'm going to walk out. So we would call this blanking, or Ramona, we should say, is calling this at this moment blanking. In other words, walk away, change the subject in a very dramatic way, in a conditional way, such as placing the metal over the wood. It's a conditional response, but it gets you off the focus. So, in other words, when we say do whatever it takes to feel better, we mean whatever. Do whatever it takes to feel good. Get angry. Do whatever it takes to feel good, but don't stay there in the conditional solution. Is the only difference. Do whatever it takes to feel good, even if it is a conditional change, and then continue to focus on focus, your own ability to choose your focus, your development of the momentum towards wanted, the allowing of all of the gifts that are available to you, the tuning in, tapping in, and turning on, as Abraham likes to call it. But in the meantime, blank it if you need to, with whatever it takes.
So you're saying it's not wrong to take an action, maybe to replace
Exactly.
quitting, or if that's really the path of least resistance, then
Yes, exactly.
and then I can work on my vibration at the same time.
Exactly. In other words, don't become addicted again to conditional, but use it whenever you want to, whenever you need to, whenever it's the easiest, whenever it's the most expedient. Just know the difference between conditional and unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool, just as action is. It's a tool to get you from one place to the other,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes quite pleasurably.
Right. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your questions. And thank you so much, Oprah, where I want to respect your time. And is there anything else you want to say to us before we bring back Ramona?
We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. We love quoting Abraham sometimes. There is great love here for you. We are complete. That was good. Good questions. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes. Now that we're at the end of the interview, I want to give you, Ramona, a chance to let us know where people can find you, what you're up to. I know you have a group program going,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the greatest way. That's the perfect way for anyone who wants to get connected with what I'm doing is through the Alignment Circle. It's a small group program where Oprah comes in. It runs an hour and a half twice a week. It's a little bit of a time commitment, but it's for people who really have a strong desire to get going and to get momentum going. It's why we meet twice a week, because the support and the encouragement and the repeated connection with Source, when you've got momentum going in the way that you don't want and you're having trouble getting momentum going towards what you do want, the best way to do that is to get momentum going. So that's the best way for people to get involved. And that's at ramonagaley.com. And I'm sure you'll probably post a link or whatever, but ramonagaley.com, sign up for Alignment Circle. I do private sessions also. And a lot of people are making just a lot of strides in their lives by working with Oprah. So yeah, I invite anyone who feels ready to come on board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, highly recommend it. I know, Joyce, you've been in the circle. Did you want to say a word about it? A few words?
It is a great place to be in a community asking questions. And just like in this interview, so many of your questions get asked by someone else, and you're even in a better place to even hear it. Yes, it is a great place to get some answers and to get momentum going for sure. Yeah.
Yes, for
Thank you,
sure.
Joyce.
And yes, and the private sessions are amazing.
Mhm.
Yes,
And I've
all
got
the
a new book
energy.
coming out, From Lonely to Fearless. New book going to be in on Amazon probably by the end of the month or by early February. We're recording this in early January, so I'm not sure when it's going to air. But yeah, check out my new book too. I'm
So
really
tell
happy
us a
with it.
little bit about your book. It's
From Lonely to
Ramona,
Fearless.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ramona Galey, From Lonely to Fearless. And what I wanted to do with it is meet people where they are. And so much of what we feel that's unwanted can be described generally as loneliness. If I'm not feeling connected to Source, I'm going to feel lonely. If I'm really trying to find a new partner, I'm going to feel lonely. If I'm not getting along well with my family, even in my same house, I can feel lonely. And so it provides a lot of really practical, actionable steps to move from whatever that you might be feeling as lonely to absolutely connected and absolutely joyful, and yes, eventually fearless. And it's a journey that I have traveled, and I love the idea of helping other people, hopefully many more people than I could ever work with personally, but just lots of people to make that transition, to travel that path for themselves. And I love that idea of impacting on just lots and lots of people that I will never even meet, just strangers around the world. And so that was my intention with the book. And I feel really good about it. And I hope that everybody will read it. It'll be available for 99 cents. It's not a big purchase on Amazon for a while. I'm not sure how the prices will go eventually, but I'm definitely starting with it at 99 cents.
Awesome. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys, for asking your questions and being here. Thank you, Ramona,
Yeah,
for
great
meeting
questions.
with. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhonda. I really enjoyed this.
I hope you enjoyed this episode with Ramona Galey and Oprah. I wanted to give you a little update on Julie and Joyce since this interview took place. Julie says, my outlook about my health since this session with Oprah has been so good. I have received so much more clarity and I'm feeling so much better. In addition to the woodpecker siding repair person, literally, he just fell into our laps when I allowed that to be an option. He also offered to paint, stain, and pressure wash our house, all things that had been on our house list for years. And the biggest thing is that the woodpecker has literally stopped coming around. We don't have the new siding started yet, but it is already done vibrationally, and dropping that resistance for me was pretty huge. Joy says, I have ordered the car that I want, and I am very excited about it. The angst about spending the money feels almost non-existent. I am getting what I want, and that feels so good. Really great stuff. If you'd like to connect with Ramona Galey, you can go to her website, ramonagaley.com. You will find info about her group program, private sessions, and her upcoming book, From Lonely to Fearless, a guide to conquering loneliness, boosting self-esteem, and letting go of others' opinions. You can also find her on Facebook at Ramona Galey. Well, that's it for me today, my friend. I hope you tune in next week for my integration episode where I will expand on the highlights of this interview. If you have questions pertaining to the content from this episode or questions for my upcoming episode, questions for Sarah Landon, please send them to me as soon as possible. See you next time.